Man, I got pulled over in the scales. I don't get pulled over a lot. Man, I can't remember the last time I got pulled over in the scales. But whenever I do, everything goes smoothly and I drive away without a ticket, right? So if you're a truck driver, maybe you can learn something from this, or maybe you're a trucking business owner, you can share it with your driver. So whenever they get pulled over, they can implement these strategies as well. All right. So disclaimer, I do not promise you that your drivers will not get a ticket, right? Because people get pulled over for whatever reason, all right? So I'm not promising you that, but I'm actually going to share these strategies that could actually help you to, to get a smoother experience with the officers, okay? So I pull up in the scales, right? And all these different lights in the scales. So the officer turned on the red light. So I tap on my brake, right? And then the yellow light comes on, which is forward, right? So I move forward a little bit, and then the brake light comes on again, right? And then pull over, right? So I pull over, and the officer drove up to my window, and I was like, "How are you doing today, officer?" Right? And that's the number one tip right there, right? He said he was doing good, right? And I said, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "Pretty good," right? So he asked me for my documents, right? And I gave him my documents, and then he did a level 2 inspection, right? So he walked around the truck and did his thing, and it took approximately between 5 and 8 minutes, right? Very, 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 very simple, all right? And that's the number one tip right there. Always be polite. You got to break the ice regardless of what they pull you over for. They could pull you over for anything, right? It could be your number today that they need to do an inspection, right? So be polite, because a lot of truckers, what they do, they get frustrated because they got to go somewhere to deliver a load, or, they got to go home, or whatever the case is, right? And they get frustrated. What you pulled me over for? You never want to do that. That's like a red flag, right? Because that alone, that attitude can actually, have you end up staying in for longer, right? As I said, it took me a very, very short time for him to do the level 2 inspection because of me breaking that ice, okay? So he did his thing, and he said apparently the reason why he pulled me over for is because there's something wrong with my brake light, right? Because my brake light came on and it never went off. So I'm like, oh, he asked me if I did my inspection, and I said, yes, sir. And so he actually went inside his vehicle and did his report, and he said for me to fix it or call somebody to fix it, right? So I'm like, man, I ain't no mechanic. I don't know anything about electrical and stuff, right? So I made a call, right? And they told me the quickest a guy could get here is probably like I think it was 2 hours, right? So the guy ended up coming to fix it in 3 hours, right? So before that, right, the officer, I think it was like about 5 minutes after, right, he pulled up to me and he gave me the report, right? He said, I got to go, right? You got to go now. But he's like, don't leave until you get it fixed. I'm like, no worry, officer. I'll be here, man. Because he said he got guys, watching around the ear. I'm like, in my mind, I was like, you're right. But, it ain't worth it to really, for me to risk it, to drive, because, it's an hour away, hour and a half away from home, and I gotta pass through 2 more scales, so it's not even worth it, right? So I was like, no problem, man, I'll be here. So he did a little smirk, a nod, and he drove away, right? And it's all because of that relationship and all that communication that I gave him. I didn't, make him have a tough time dealing with me and whatever the case is. And, everything went smoothly. And, yeah, so the guy came to fix it 3 hours later, and it ended up to be like 5 hours there to get it fixed. And guess what, man? It's all good. I went home and everything was all right. So that's the story that I gotta share with you. I hope you got something from it. Always be polite regardless of what the officer pulled you over for. All right, because that alone can actually make a difference, because we all have a job to do. They have a job to do to make sure that we all safe on the road, and take all the bad guys off the road. Right? And you have a job too. So hey, it's all good, man. We all here to to make sure everybody's you know, driving safe on the road and stuff like that. So yeah, so I hope you got something from this. If you did, just comment below, let me know what you got from it. And whenever you get pulled in the scales again, make sure you use these strategies. Just be polite and you know, just cooperate with the person, and everything will run smoothly. All right, so with that being said, have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.